The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown. Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Youmans.
It's the week before the NFL Draft edition of Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, in the SWBC Mortgage Studios. Welcome in, everybody. We've got Patrik "No-C" Walker, Isaiah Stanback, fresh off the West Coast, back in the building.
That's right, son.
He's even left his sleeves in California.
Listen,
Sun's out, guns out.
That's how fast I got over here.
Yeah.
They disintegrated. Just Bruce Almighty. just ripped off.
Right off of there.
I just figured you did like Naruto run in the sleeves. Just
know what?
Peeled off.
Absolutely.
You were Naruto running.
And
He's allergic to sleeves. That's what.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. By the way, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. Chris Beam also has no sleeves in the back. You just can't see it.
Bro, he's been typing so much, I would imagine his sleeves probably fell off.
He's been putting together the draft B-roll.
We're not going to pretend that Beamer actually wears a shirt back there.
Listen.
Okay? Beamer goes shirtless
So
every day.
when I intro the show, should I
Beamer
say
cam.
Beamer shirtless in the back?
yeah.
Please stop.
That's the intro. Beamer shirtless in the back.
Beamer shirtless in the back.
This segment is brought to you by.
By Fitness.
Yeah,
Cowboys Fit.
We're not going to say what that sponsor is.
Yeah. Oh, man.
geez.
Good stuff. No, good to have you back. Right here at the beginning of the real countdown to the draft.
Crazy, man.
We're 9 days away now from the start of the draft, and we've always called it on the draft show, it's lying season. And I completely agree with that. I mean, you get to hear different rumors almost every single day that we're out here about what could possibly happen, where the Cowboys could go, where the other 31 teams in the NFL could go.
I don't care about them.
And, well, you should care a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a tiny bit
Definitely
about
have to
them.
care.
Just to figure out what are you doing up front. But couple things before we get into some diving in draft talk, news and notes, Patrik.
Absolutely. So yesterday on Monday, April 14th, the Cowboys officially began their voluntary OTAs. So their offseason program is now underway. The players are reporting to the facility, which for all intents and purposes, officially launches the Brian Schottenheimer era, because now everybody's in the building. Headliners, Dak Prescott in attendance. And I know there's another one that everybody wants to talk about. Micah Parsons is in the building.
Oh, I was going to say Deuce Vaughn.
You're going to say Deuce?
Yeah.
That's fair. Shouts out to Deuce.
He was out there.
Shouts out to Deuce. Solomon Thomas. That was nice. I like to see that. Solomon Thomas was in the building early yesterday. So for an incoming free agent to be ready to hit the ground running like that, that's good stuff. But Micah Parsons, we talked about it last week, and I said I believe that, part of the contract negotiation between Micah and the Cowboys is kind of going to be determined by if he shows up and honors his word at voluntary OTAs and going forward, because last couple of off seasons, he's worked out on his own, rather be on a beach or sumo wrestling on the other side of the planet. Micah was doing his own thing. Now he's showing the leadership. He's here. He's in the building. He reported yesterday, and he's already hit the ground running for Matt Eberflus and some of these other guys. So you love to see it. I think that can only speak positively as far as where this contract talk, these contract talks can go over the next couple of days, couple of weeks. I really believe in my heart of hearts this will expedite it. I think this will expedite it. So Micah Parsons is in the building. Dak Prescott's in the building. A lot of other players are still filing in. But yeah, so big news there yesterday. And it should have been a non-story, but considering who we're talking about and the contract talks, I get why it's a story. So the lion is in his den.
Well, and part of the negotiation process that hasn't been kept under wraps really at all. I feel like most of the conversations have been at least aired out from one side or the other, either the Jones side, the front office side, or the Parsons side and his agency side. So you see the negotiations, and part of what the Jones family and the front office want to see is a leadership role.
Yep.
They want to see him step up in a bigger way, whether that's in practice or film study or whatever it may be, just to help this team get better along the way. Not saying he hasn't done that in the past. Now, voluntary workouts have been hit or miss in the past, right? Even last year, he missed all of them.
Right.
Last year.
Across the planet.
So
sumo wrestling.
he was hanging out with C.J. Stroud wherever
Which
that
was a great cause. He was with the youth over there.
Exactly. But he's here. And I think that's important to note when he is here and he's working out and he's part of the voluntary, like you said in quotations here a second ago, Isaiah. The quotations voluntary. You need to be here.
Yeah.
And he's here.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
I don't know that it's necessarily.
I don't think it's a sign to what is to come in terms of contract talks.
I mean, I think that we saw last year, okay, and based upon the things that he stated last year in regards to him trying to step up as a leader. Sure. He was making a very assertive effort in that area. He also was very outspoken in regards to when D-Law parted, right? And we understand that was a huge vacancy in regards to leadership in that particular position at the defensive end spot. He's also been very vocal about other players in college football that were opting to not show up, right? So you couple all those things together, and then you factor in the fact that has a new defensive coordinator that he needs to get acquainted with, and that is going to perceive him as the leader just by impact alone, right? You're considered a leader. You're in a position of leadership. I don't want to say you're considered a leader, but you're in a position of leadership when you are the top player on that side of the ball. So he has that going. And then you could talk about the contract, right? Yeah. Then the contract comes in, right? So you have all those other things and then the contract. So I don't believe that this is going to expedite the talks. I don't believe that this is going to have any impact on their ability to get a deal done. I don't think it's going to impact the bottom line numbers. I just think that it's a good thing that he's here because he needs to be here, right? For a number of reasons. But I don't think that any of it is in regards to his contract.
So a couple things. One, I do agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying as far as new defensive coordinator, want to hit the ground running. We sat here at this table this time last year, and I distinctly remember Isaiah Stanback feeling away because Mike Zimmer was in the building. Micah Parsons was not in the building. Yeah. So for all the things that Isaiah's saying, we have the receipts. Isaiah said the same thing in the inverse when Micah was not in the building. So 100%. What I mean by expediting it, I think that Kyle referenced it a little bit in his transition point to you, in that I think the Cowboys want to completely see the leadership role. I think they're already all in for the most part.
For sure.
I mean, the X's and O's, it's hard not to be.
Right. The X's and O's, they're all in on Micah Parsons.
We just like to see this.
Right. They're ready. They're ready to get this deal done. It takes two to tango, so keep that in mind, folks.
It's a lot easier to dance when you're in person.
Right. But there have been question marks, maybe not necessarily upstairs, but there have been question marks, and there's the narrative. Let me put it that way. There's the narrative that Micah Parsons, he focuses too much on the podcast. He's not the leader in the locker room, so forth and so on. We saw Micah start to make the transition to being a leader in the locker room last year. Saw how he took guys like Mozzie Smith under his wing as early as training camp last season, pushing Mozzie. After practice, when the cameras were all gone, it was he and Mozzie Smith out there running drills and things.
There was a considerable step forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he has been transitioning to that leadership role. Sure. So the only question that remained in the narrative, whomever is carrying the narrative, the only question was when if the contract is still not in place, is he willing to show up to voluntary OTA, something he's not done in seasons past? So
can I bring up two more questions now that we've checked the box on that one?
Yeah.
The next one is, will he be willing to continue showing up for voluntary workouts and
mandatory comes after
mandatory minicamp, and you've got OTAs, and you've got the rest of the offseason workouts. I mean, this is day one. We're talking day one, and I mean, we don't know who's there today at the moment. Will he continue to step up? That's my first question. The second question is, when the contract does come, we've seen a step forward in the leadership. We've seen a step forward in his mentality to be a better teammate, to be a better leader, and to kind of take on a veteran role. When the contract does come, is this all for the contract, or is it a change that will last further into his career? Because I think there are Cowboys fans out there, not me included. I believe in Micah, and I really do think it is a legitimate transition. However, there are fans out there and there are people out there in the league that don't feel that way.
And I get their standpoint because they don't have all the information.
Sure.
Right? When you talk about like individuals such as ourselves, others in the building who watch and speak with Micah on a regular basis, sometimes on a daily basis, especially in season, when the cameras are not around, we're looking at him. We're seeing how he moves. We're seeing how he conducts himself around other players. We're talking to other players who are talking positively about Micah and the growth that he's had.
Yeah.
I don't believe this is disingenuous and simply tied to a contract. I believe this is a maturation process.
That's good.
I think he's growing up and growing
See
into
it in sports all the time.
Right, he's growing up and growing into the realization, especially now with the parting of ways with DeMarcus Lawrence and the Cowboys, and you saw how he jumped in front of that train. For me, that had nothing to do with the contract. That was Micah Parsons saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." What you're not going to do is leave and then turn around and throw shade at my team. Like he's embodying it as my team. So to answer that second question, I believe that this is 100% Micah maturing and understanding this is his team and it has to be his team going forward.
Good, well put. Yeah, the DeMarcus Lawrence situation certainly does shed a little bit of light on what he has been and what he's meant to this team around him too. Guys like Osa and I know he's gone now, but Chauncey in that whole scenario all stepped up and we're on Micah's side of that whole ordeal. So just something to keep in mind as this ongoing saga will continue. I mean, until the contract is signed, and then after that, we've seen that too, it'll continue. But it's just another step along the way. What other news and notes do we have here, Pat?
We're still waiting for one other thing to drop. Hopefully that drops before the show is concluded. So put a pin in that, ladies.
If it does, we'll let you know.
Absolutely, in real time. Be one of the few times we got it in real time as opposed
it's not
to 10
happen.
minutes
it's gonna happen.
after the show.
We'll talk about it on the draft show in like 30 seconds.
We did get another update on Dak Prescott. I was able to speak to Dak Prescott a couple weeks ago. Tommy Yara spoke to Dak Prescott from the Children's Cancer Fund Gala. Did some great work out there on Saturday and I believe Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Nonetheless, Dak Prescott continues to make progress in his recovery from that hamstring injury. There's been discussion because of Jake Ferguson's social media post calling him the Slim Reaper and saying that he dropped 50 pounds. He has not dropped 50 pounds. Dak Prescott has not dropped 50 pounds. Dak qualified a little bit differently. He said more or less he's at the same weight. It's just reproportioned, right? So it's more mass in his legs and his thighs and his quads and whatnot as he recovers and he gets more strength and builds more muscle to try to prevent that type of injury from happening again in the future. So no, he's not down 50 pounds. I've even seen some reports that he's down 30 pounds. Let Dak tell it, and he would know better than anybody. He's not down any pounds, air quote around any. But he definitely looks a bit slimmer, but he's not necessarily, again, reproportioned muscle. But one thing that stuck out for me was him saying that if the Cowboys had to play a game today, he could go.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I know what you're about to say. Easy to say when you don't actually have to play a game, right? But the fact that he has that level of optimism combined with what we are seeing from the videos that are being posted, him doing workouts with the receivers, he's throwing, he's planting well.
Yep.
And anyone who remembers in real time when the injury happened, he couldn't plant because it's his plant leg, right? So he's planting, he's throwing. There's some velo on the throws.
Rotating.
Right, he's rotating. So things are looking good. Does this mean he won't start on the PUP list for training camp? To be determined. To be determined. But as he's tracking that there's a solid shot that he may dodge the PUP list.
I don't believe it until I see the salsa gyration hips. Until I can see the salsa gyration hips again, I don't believe you, Dakota.
He hasn't been the same since the salsa hips went away. I'm with you. I think we're going to get to Oxnard. I think he'll be ready week 1. Don't get me wrong. He's not going to play in the preseason. So what we're talking about here is practice.
You have some time.
We're Allen Iverson here. We're talking about practice.
June, July, August. You got 4 months.
He's got time. He'll be fine. If he ends up going to training camp, great. If not, we get a great look at Joe Milton and Will Greer, and we get to see what they can do from an increased number of snaps, both within training camp and the preseason, which is not a bad thing. So
CeeDee Lamb's holdout that benefited Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, and some of those other guys.
Did it benefit CeeDee Lamb, though? No. I want
as
Dak
far
Prescott
as
there.
his transition to
I want him
It was
there.
a slow start, is what you're getting at.
But we'll see.
It did benefit his bank account, though.
Yeah, it'll benefit some of the guys on the back end
Exactly.
of it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I want him there.
Yeah,
I just don't.
100%.
I'm with Isaiah. I won't believe it until I see it.
Tulsa hips.
Salsa hips.
What even more so to your point is we talk about with Micah and a new DC. Even though Schottenheimer was already here, it's now Schottenheimer's team, and now you have a new OC combined with that, and then you have a new OL coach and Connor Riley. You have a lot of new pieces, and of course asterisk next to new or next to Schottenheimer's name when you say new. But again, things are being changed on the offensive side of the ball in massive ways. And you would love to have Dak Prescott ready to go day one in Oxnard. But you and I both know, we know they are not going to push the issue. If that push is going to risk his availability at any point next season, whether it be up front or on the back end because they didn't handle it correctly on the front end. So if they need to put him on the PUP list for a couple of days just as a precaution, then they'll absolutely do it. But he's making some good progress, so he might dodge it altogether.
Yeah. Any other notes?
Nothing that comes to mind right now unless we get the news that drops. So,
Okay, so there we go. We're going to take our first break here on Talking Cowboys. When we come back, I've got the YouTube fan comment of the day.
Let's go.
And then we've also got some draft questions I want you guys to answer. Let's have a little debate here as to what can happen for the Cowboys draft and what they want moving forward. More of Talking Cowboys right after this. If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Glad you're with us here on this Tuesday, the Tuesday before the week of the NFL draft. We're 9 days away. And Isaiah's already got his Cowboy Star Magazine draft guide.
This is my best friend.
Caressing it.
This is my best friend right here, leading up to next Thursday. Looking forward to using
Absolutely. It's
Can
just
I-
the way you were caressing it.
That's it, man.
Can I give away a little industry secret?
Feel free.
So Isaiah called me Wednesday?
That's right.
Or he texted me like Tuesday night and was like, "Hey, how do I get a copy of the draft magazine?"
Yeah, I thought it was only physical.
Yeah, and I was like, "Well, there's a digital copy here, and it's like $4. Let me give it to you." And he ended up, I couldn't get him a code at that point, so he ended up just paying the $4.95. Got the digital copy, and then how much conversation did you have on the draft from Wednesday through Friday on Good Morning Football where this played a factor?
Listen, I had it pulled up on my laptop, and I was informed. I had all the insight that I needed. I was ready for the mock draft that we had on GMFB.
Yep.
People were peeking over my shoulder. I was doing the old school, don't you look at my
look at mine.
And you know what? I shared this information with a lot of people down there at the network. So there's a lot of people now that are now tapped in with the star, baby.
Get you some.
Get some.
That's the thing about it too, is it's funny because now if everybody disagreed with your draft takes on Good Morning Football, I'm going to be the one that gets the brood of it. I'm going to be like, they're going to look at me and be like, Kyle, you messed Isaiah up. You did it the wrong way. But no, really excited about how this turned out. We had the print copy sell out on Fanatics. Like it sold out, which was really cool. They're going to restock it, so it should be up pretty soon, maybe even today. Digital copies are unlimited.
Digital is awesome because it's on PDF, but it's something about just being able to flip pages.
I'm
for
old
both.
school.
I'm for both. I still read like actual books. I don't really like digital books, but when it comes to stuff like this, it's easier on a PDF to have that access. But
type your name in.
I'm a paper turner.
Get both.
I still love turning paper.
Get both.
All right, you guys ready for our
less than a cup of coffee
YouTube comment of the day?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
From the first segment, this is a new thing we've started on talking. I'm going to take a comment from the first segment only, because I need you here early.
Hold on, you said started on talking, right?
Yeah.
This is starting on talking, meaning that the other shows
Correct.
might
When
try
they
to
try
copy
and
it.
take it,
Okay,
it
just making
started
sure.
here on Talkin'
Just making
Cowboys.
sure that we
The
can put that.
originators.
There you go.
Beamer, you got that? Good.
But we're engaging with our chat and trying to make sure we have some fun there. Jeremy wins today. He said, we sure Stanback didn't play Mike linebacker? Said, in here looking like a young David Boston.
Oh, not the DB.
The DB, baby.
Hey, listen, that boy was a 260-pound receiver.
Dude, he was a dog.
He was
what he was.
He wasn't on just vitamins, I don't think.
Them Flintstone vitamins don't do you like that.
Eighth
Those
pick
Flintstone vitamins
from
don't get you like
Humble,
that.
Texas.
Cutting out.
Yep, he was an All-Pro, Pro Bowler. He had a lot of fun with the Cardinals, where he really had his.
Yeah, he was in Tampa Bay is when I remember him.
Yeah, he played
Tampa
for
Bay. He was
Arizona, San Diego, Miami, Tampa Bay.
He was a freaking go look at. There's a picture of him like in Sports Illustrated back when he was in Tampa Bay. He looked like
Specimen.
Bro.
Those ain't Flintstone vitamins. Those ain't Flintstone
Or the just
those were not Flintstone vitamins. Bro. He looked like lightweight, baby.
That ain't Centrum one a day.
All right, so with the draft coming up 9 days away, want to transition into some draft talk here. Isaiah, I know we've kind of talked a little bit with you on the show, a little bit with you out about the 12th overall pick and what you could kind of end up with. If you had to guess now, 9 days out, where do you feel like the Cowboys are leaning?
Okay, so I believe
it could be a position group, it could be a specific player.
So
do you think?
The position group I think is A, receiver, and I think B is going to be offensive lineman. Okay. But it really is going to be predicated on what happens. Obviously, I think the number 3 overall pick is really going to send this draft into a
spiral.
Yeah, spiral like that. If that pick is not what everybody is projecting it to be, then there's going to be craziness that takes place.
You hear this, New York?
Get the Giants.
Yeah, get it together.
Jeez. Yeah, the Giants they're in a position.
So you're saying the whole NFL draft has to rely on the Giants?
I got a little bit of insight. You know what I'm saying? Just got a little bit of insight, but I believe this is Isaiah-ism.
So what would be chalk in 1 and 2? Chalk would be what a Cam Ward one.
This is my insight. Again, this is not from the outside. This is me.
Spill it.
Sorry, Derek. I know I was in this camera.
Spill it.
Listen, number 1, I believe is going to be Cam Ward to Tennessee. Number 2 to Cleveland. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Number 3, I don't believe it's a good idea, but I foresee the Giants bypassing Shador and going with Abdul Carter.
Wow.
See, but Abdul Carter is such a strong pick there.
I hear you. But what is their future situation at quarterback? Not that we care.
They don't have.
Not that we care. But I'm just saying. I think it's gonna be stupid that they pass on him. But I foresee them going with Abdul Carter, which then puts
most important position
the Patriots in a weird position, because I believe the Patriots are banking on Abdul Carter falling to them or Travis Hunter falling to them. But neither one of those I don't believe is going to happen. So I'm not sure what happens with New England's pick there, right? Because you obviously have Mike Vrabel out there. He's trying to get that defense to be absolutely McNasty. He's done a great job of stacking that defense up to date with free agents and trades and all that jazz. So I think that either New York at 3 dictates what goes on, and then from there, it's a curveball what the New England Patriots do, right? And if you find yourself in a situation where it falls down to the Bears. I think they're what, 7?
10.
The Bears are at 10? Yeah, Bears are at 10. Okay, that's right. Yeah. So I think that Shador, if he gets past 3, I think he goes to the Saints with the new news
9.
coming out of with the Carr situation.
It's fair.
So I think he goes there with Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is not going to start his new head coach lineage without a direction to go with a quarterback.
Absolutely.
So I think Shador probably goes 9. I think at the running back position, if I think Genty's either going to go with the Raiders or he's going to go to the Bears.
He's going to.
So I think the Bears are either going to take a running back or they're going to take an offensive lineman.
And I would think about the Jags there at 5 too.
I think the Jags are going to go.
They're probably going to go Mason Graham. They've fallen in love with Graham, D-tackle. You talk about the wild card of the Patriots. If the Patriots decide to skip on a guy like Will Campbell from LSU, offensive lineman, who Mel Kiper and Field Yates today, even they both mocked Will Campbell to 4. If he ends up being the pick there, or Mason Graham ends up being the pick there,
it gets crazy, bro.
That's where things kind of start falling in line.
So I truly believe that Dallas is going to have their choice at either the high was it Tet at Arizona.
Tet McMillan.
I don't think he's going to fall to 12, but if he does, there's an option. There you go. Ta-da, voila, good job, Cowboys. If he doesn't, then you're hoping for somehow, some way, Campbell or Mimbu falling to 12 and you grabbing them and pulling them into the interior to fill the Martin gap.
Well, I feel like, I agree 100% on the first, a lot of what you said, but your lead statement, which is you believe that wide receiver is point number A. It's point A. The more and more I have these conversations inside this building, and the more whispers I hear that are growing louder,
whispers.
I think that, plan 1A is wide receiver, and plan 1B is wide receiver.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
In 2 different ways.
So you might absolutely get your wish.
What would be your
talking
1?
about this.
Who would be your 1A though?
Me? It's Ted McMillan.
Okay, who would be your 1B?
It's Matthew Golden.
Okay. I think it might be reversed on their board.
You think so?
I think so.
Interesting.
I think it might be.
Why do you think so?
Conversations and just kind of the fit between the
that's
two.
what I'm getting at.
And I think Tet would be a phenomenal fit.
Yes.
But they're looking, and this is a Brian Schottenheimer era, right? You just talked about it. What is one thing that they don't have in their room right now? Let me. I asked this question on the draft show. I'm going to see if I can get the same answer here.
Okay.
If you had to take the Cowboys' current wide receiver room, right, and throw them all together and lump them into one generic thought process, what's the biggest fundamental side of playing receiver that they lack the most?
Size.
Okay, that's one. That's not the answer that we had on the draft show. The answer we had on the draft show was separation.
Oh, well, yeah.
So
they're one of the worst separations.
Size is fair. They don't have a ton of size, and they don't have that 1X, which Ted McMillan would be that guy.
True X, yeah.
So now it's pick your poison. Do you want to add size to your wide receiver room, or do you want to add separation to your wide receiver room?
Ted can separate. Golden is better.
Golden is better.
That's true.
Agreed. I remember Ted's my number 1 receiver, and I haven't budged on that. Yeah. But Ted is one element, and Matthew Golden's another element. Yes.
I believe that the Dallas Cowboys can pull off one heck of a trade, and I mentioned it last time I was here.
Say it with your chest.
I can't say it with my chest. I can only say it with my pectorals.
I was going to just
it's the one where you want to die on that hill?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you can pull that off, which I think is more probable now than it even was last time we spoke.
It's pretty probable.
Even more now.
I think somebody's listening to this show because there was like a blog or somebody out there that put
it out there.
A full projection of this could happen. We're gonna send a 5th round and they're gonna send a 4th.
It was gonna take more than that.
Yeah, I think it was like a second.
It's gonna take more than that. Yeah, second. I would do it. I would do it, but for that particular individual. And if you're able to pull that off,
that would be scary hours. Silent Hill.
Get your O-lineman at 12. Secure the big boys up front because they allow for you, I'm always saying this, to run and pass. If you know that you have that in your back pocket and you can pull that off, get your big boy and put him on the inside and just maul everybody off the line and then pull off that trade, right? Pull off that trade, and then you are sitting pretty because you can pick up your receiver later on in the draft that can be a possession guy.
Sure.
Now you don't need to go out there and find your top 12 pick at receiver. It's going to cost you some bread.
It's going to cost you a lot of bread.
But I looked at some of the cap numbers, and it's not as bad as you think. It's not as bad as you think.
It's still a lot.
It's not as bad as you think.
But then you know what the conversation becomes. Because at the same time, the player that we're talking about who shall remain nameless isn't exactly a spring chicken.
No, not at all.
Correct.
Okay. So now you have to look at the long-term situation.
Yes, you do. However,
somebody that can not only come in and make an impact right now, and if you're talking about grabbing a wide receiver at number 12, you expect impact right now. Okay. So it's impact now versus impact now. It's proven impact versus projected impact.
I understand what you're saying.
It's expense versus not so much.
Let me in there.
It's draft capital that you gave up versus you didn't.
Listen up.
Come
I
on.
hear you.
No. I didn't.
You want to make
point. I'm just giving you the variables.
Some people want to make a splash. I'm going cannonball. Okay, I'm going cannonball off the top rope, top deck. You look up there and say, "Do I want to climb those stairs?" Absolutely. Cover the nose up. Everybody who's up there trying to bathe with a little no swordfish here. Okay, I want you guys getting out there, diving in the doggone pool, and making all the water come out. Because if you can pull that off, you not only have CeeDee Lamb, which is revered as one of the most dangerous weapons in the league. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I believe that this particular individual is the most dangerous player at that position in the league. He's the most feared person if you're able to pull that off.
They also have another guy that wants out of that situation too. That's pretty darn good too.
So anyway, that's what I would like personally. So I would, I would like that a lot.
Not that one.
Not that one?
No. The one that's like the, you know what they call dolphins, right?
Yes.
They call them the Rams of the Sea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, I'm not so in on.
You're not in on that one?
No, I'm in on the first one though. But listen, but that's all speculation. Anyways, I would like to see that happen, but who knows?
But for me, that goes to availability too.
I just truly believe. I honestly believe that it is. If you have these big boys up front, and there's a handful of big boys that are like can't misses in this draft.
Yeah, Mimbu, Will Campbell,
Yep.
Kelvin Banks is probably the third of that group.
Yep.
I think
offensive linemen,
all three would probably be two of those three, if not one of those three, will be there. You know,
and I don't believe that you can miss on that opportunity because in this league, it is so difficult to find a lineman, an offensive lineman that is an absolute beast and that can be in that role for 12, 13 years.
You need another Zach or Tyron.
Your receivers are going to come and go. That's what it is. I'm sorry, I'm not discrediting that position, but it is what it is. You're going to go through receivers, right? You're hoping that you don't go through linemen. Most of the time, if you have a solid offensive lineman, that offensive lineman is going to have a 10-year career.
Yeah.
Easy. That's not the case with receiver. So I feel like you have a greater probability of swinging and missing at a receiver than you do at an offensive lineman.
I feel like what I want now. This is me just saying what I want because as you're talking about this, and again, you're right. You're making all the great points. I love it. Offensive line, you build it from the trenches. You know that's how I build my team.
Bully ball.
always, yeah.
That being said, though, there's also something to be said for a T.O. and Terry Glenn type combo, where it's just like, how lethal is this, and could this be for multiple seasons? Obviously, and, T.O. antics notwithstanding. But if you're talking about a CeeDee Lamb and a Golden, or a CeeDee Lamb and a Ted McMillan, you're talking about not necessarily having to worry about running through receivers again for the next several seasons, because you have a tandem that immediately, assuming that the projected NFL ability of Ted McMillan and Golden, assuming they hit those ceilings, you're talking about what could arguably be the most dangerous wide receiver tandem for some time to come. That's hard to pass up on. That's hard. Because we're not talking about, and no knock to anyone, so I won't say names. We're not talking about putting your stock into a receiver at a 5th round pick saying, okay, well, yeah, we hope that no. A 12th overall pick at receiver, you're putting him in tandem with CeeDee Lamb. That's tantalizing.
For every, and I get Isaiah's point, I really do. And if there's a right side player available like a Mimbu from Missouri, I think I'm there. I'm a little bit harder pressed to try and move everybody around the way you would if you draft a left side player.
Yeah, no. I'm on the Mimbo train.
Because if Mimbu's there at 12, I don't think he.
I don't think he.
I think he's going to go 7 to the Jets, and he's going to have a great career in New York.
And enough is enough.
But when it comes to the right side, you can upgrade your right side of your offense.
Yes, I'm 100%
you can
on
totally
board.
upgrade. Now, your left side, you're kind of working through some things with Tyler Guyton. You've got one of the best guards in football right now in Tyler Smith, and you feel really comfortable up the middle with Cooper Beebe.
Yep.
Anything you do to draft on that side is going to move around a bunch of pieces.
I'm not touching that side.
So if that's the case, then we're talking Mimbu as the option.
Absolutely.
So that would discredit Will Campbell, who I think is a hell of a player.
Yep. But he's the left side.
And you would have to move pieces around.
But you don't want to disrupt them.
Same thing with Kelvin Banks. I mean, they're on the front of the draft magazine, both of those guys. They're great players, but I don't know if I want to touch that left side.
Hold on.
Whereas the right side, I can kind of make it happen.
What happened to you guys about this running back thing? Where did that go? That was a conversation.
I think they're going.
Well, Genty's
I think Genty's going because
let me make it abundantly clear, and this has been the case anyways. This has been the case from the get-go. If Genty is available at 12,
he's not, bro.
Which he will not be. He would be the pick.
So to answer your question,
I like the reason Hamilton out of UNC.
O'Marion.
Hampton.
Yeah,
Hampton. I like him a lot.
The reason that we're not in this conversation, we're not bringing up Genty is because now we're having the conversation not of what we would do, which is what Kyle had posed to us over the past couple of episodes. Mm-hmm. Now it's what do we think they will do and how do we think the board is going to fall.
Correct.
So I think we're all in agreement that I don't think Genty makes it past number 10, which is where the Chicago Bears sit.
Genty might not make it past 3.
Right. So assuming Genty is not there,
talk about throwing a wrench,
which in all likelihood he won't be, it's far more likely that Tet and or Matthew Golden are there at 12. And then you combine that with the official 30 visits, the whispers, and the conversations we're hearing inside the building. They're really, really leaning hard on wide receiver.
Who's your 3 receiver set if you get one of those guys?
So CD
depends on
Tet / Golden.
Who's your 3?
It would be CD Golden.
Okay, so there's a hole.
I mean,
okay. That was my point.
Up front.
That was my point. I just want to make sure that there was still a gap. There was still a hole in that position group, right?
So don't you need to address it more? Who's your set now?
I feel like Tolbert can be a wide receiver 3 in that set.
Who's your slot?
Well, it would be a mismatch or a mix.
You see what I'm getting at? You see what I'm getting? So even if you do grab one of those highly acclaimed receivers there, you still have something that you need to address. You still don't feel great with your 2 receiver set, but you still don't feel great with your 3 receiver set. If you grab one of those interior offensive linemen, if he's available at that number 12 spot, now you feel great about your offensive line.
See, but I think your point now is working against your original point.
What's that?
Because I can name our starting offensive lineman right now. Mm-hmm. As if we were to line up tomorrow and play, you can name the left tackle is Tyler Guyton, left guard is Smith, center is Beebe, right guard's Hoffman, and then right tackle is Terrence Steele. You can name your offensive line, and you can win games with that offensive line. Okay. In my mind, you can win.
Got one for you. Finish your point, guys.
But wide receiver, if you're asking me, who's your wide receiver 2 at all?
Listen, if you're not drafting them, you're trading for the guy that I'm talking about.
Okay. Or if you're looking for your 3rd wide receiver and for whatever reason you don't have enough confidence in Jalen Tolbert being that, which I feel like Tolbert can be a wide receiver, okay? But if you get a Tet or a Matthew Golden to tandem with CeeDee Lamb and you want a wide receiver 3, you have a name like Tyler Lockett who's still out there in free agency.
Go get a vet.
He just happens to live and prosper.
Right. On top of that. So now, and your question was, when I said Tolbert, you were like, who's the slot? Tyler Lockett can operate.
I like it.
So there you go. Get Tet or Golden. And then you spin the block, and you drive down to Prosper, and you have a sit down with Tyler Lockett, and you say, "Come on with it."
I don't disagree. Or you make sure that Dak can sit back there with that hamstring all day long, and nobody's gonna get to him. And you can have Tyler Lockett, you can have CeeDee Lamb, and you can go out there and have go speed racer.
I love it. I do. I am always
be a fast receiver core.
Drafting offensive linemen early. I am all for it. But in this case, this specific case, if it's anybody other than Mimbu, I'm drafting a receiver.
Okay, so here we go. Mimbu or Tet?
Mimbu's higher on my board. And I love Tet.
For me to,
I want your response.
I want my skill player. I want my position player. I want.
But why are we having this conversation? Because Mimbu will not be.
He won't be there.
Yeah.
But Tet might not either.
There's 5 guys
Well, then
up
Golden will
front
be.
that I'm very confident are not going to be there.
If
He's
Tet
one of
is
them.
going, Golden isn't. If Golden is going, Tet isn't. That's I don't see both of them going off of the board.
No, I bet you both are there. I bet you both.
That's what I'm saying. So then then it goes to your point, because both can separate, but Golden can separate better. But Tet has more size, and you need a true X. So
Whatever
then it's
you
just a
want.
matter of whichever you want.
Yeah.
Whichever you want.
Whatever you got.
That's where I am, Isaiah. That's where I am.
All right.
I respect it.
We got to take our second break. When we come back, I want to ask you if there's one position where you have to have a starter caliber player out of the draft, which one is it? Cannot leave without it if you hope to win games in the National Football League. More of Talking Cowboys right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Cowboys fans, get ready for draft weekend presented by Miller Lite at the Star in Frisco. The action kicks off on Thursday, April 24th with the ultimate draft party and continues Friday with the draft hangout and wraps up on Saturday with the Draft Day 5K presented by Baylor Scott and White Health. 3 days of football, fun, and fan experiences you won't want to miss. Visit DallasCowboys.com/draft for more details.
Don't you dare miss it.
Oh, look.
Oh!
Don't miss it.
Showed up.
Coming in for the finale, I see.
I know they who I think it is.
I've appeared.
Very sneaky.
Say his name and he shall appear.
Welcome to the show, Josh Rodriguez.
I couldn't miss it. I had an appointment, but I got here late, but I could not miss the show. I did miss most of it, but the conversation has been excellent. I love it.
Showed up Joe Hendry style.
Do you have anything to add to the conversation from the last segment?
I wasn't listening, honestly.
Oh,
no. I disagree with Isaiah. I don't want Membu. I don't want an offensive line. We need skill positions. We need skill players because we need to make some plays, buddy. And I didn't articulate this as much as I wanted to last week, but I don't want another guy that's going to be a Ring of Honor guy. I want a Super Bowl winner, if that makes sense. I need someone to win us some games and get us to the Super Bowl. As much as it would be great to have a tenured player that did all he could. I don't want another guy in the ring without a ring.
Okay.
See what you did.
Bar.
That was a bar. But we'll see how it turns out.
Josh came in. Do.
I like it. I've got Membu higher on my board, and so I would take Membu, but Golden or Tet, one of those two guys, I think that's the most likely to be a Dallas Cowboy. If I had to put my bet in on the table now,
which you can't do.
That's not monetary value, is just for fun and
You switched
and
up real quick on that.
Just for fun and happiness, it is. It would be Matthew Golden. Like, I think that's where they're leaning, but we'll see.
But we talked about this a few days ago. This was off air, but isn't there a little redundancy there with Matthew Golden and CD and their assets? And then I guess with Tet, you're getting more of a possession guy, taller.
Yeah, you're getting something different with both guys. You're getting another level of separation and speed that you don't have. A 4.29 40 you don't have on the roster. Even a guy like Kevontae Turpin might have a 4.2 40, but it's still not going to show up the same way that a Golden would at that size. So you're getting something in Golden just as much as you're getting something with Tet McMillan. Tet McMillan is the bigger X receiver that you don't have, the contested catch guy, red zone guy that you're going to throw the ball up to and have some success.
Volleyball player.
One way or the other, literal volleyball.
Literal volleyball.
One way or the other, you're getting something new to your receiver core where I think if you're telling me I could have 2 CeeDee Lambs, I'm going to take 2 CeeDee Lambs. I'm going to be okay with that, Luther Burden, I think, is a more direct comparison to CeeDee's skill set than Golden is. I think Golden's more, and this is probably a lazy comp, but it's true, it is more of an Xavier Worthy type player than CeeDee Lamb in terms of his skill set.
So does the redundancy lie in a player like Brandon Cooks? Like, can you kind of fit those two together, Golden and Brandon Cooks, in that they didn't have great chemistry, CD and Brandon Cooks, over the past few seasons. Granted, we don't know if the McCarthy offense was serving Brandon Cooks very well throughout his tenure here. So, I mean, is that
I have more faith that Golden's skill set would translate at this point in time. If we're talking Brandon Cooks when he was fresh in the league and was in New Orleans and he was putting up incredible numbers along the way, then that's one thing. But we got Brandon Cooks in his age 29, 30, and 31-year-old seasons.
I know.
We're getting Matthew Golden as a 22-year-old fresh out of college and just ran a 4.29. I think I would have more confidence in that.
So the size doesn't bother you as much then?
Not really.
Okay.
And I said this before you put your Joe Hendry. I would go Tet over Golden just simply because I like complementary game changers, right? So I mentioned, yesteryear, Terry Glenn and T.O. We'll bring it to current tense and we'll go to the city of Philadelphia, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I like complementary game breakers, right? So a complementary situation would be CeeDee Lamb and Tet more so than CeeDee Lamb and Golden. That's not to say I'm out on Golden. If you've been paying attention to the show, then I'm in on Golden.
Yeah.
But as far as if they're both staring me right in the face, knowing that Golden has slightly better separation, but Tet can separate also, you lose some size to Golden over Tet. I'm taking Tet's physicality, ability to high point the ball, plays with a little bit more violence at the point of attack. I'm taking that in complement with CeeDee.
I think teams are worried about the 40. I do.
His 40 was more than solid though. When
4.5.
That's not
and change.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible, and you can have success. I mean, Mike Evans ran a 4.5 40.
Right. And how's he been?
You know what the 10 yards was?
10-yard split. I can get it for you.
That's really what matters. Everybody looks at 40s, but people need to look at.
You're
the 10
right
yards.
because burst.
Yeah.
Right. Burst.
Acceleration. How fast do you get up to top speed? Tops. I mean, the probability of you running 40 yards a lot of times, on the go ball. But if you're a big receiver, you don't need to be a whole yard in front of somebody. You just need to have them have the edge on them, right, or be able to body them up. So that first 10 yards is more important.
How fast do you think my 40 is?
His split was a 1.58. So he ran a 4.53, 1.58.
All right, what's Golden? Do you have that?
4.29, 1.47.
Okay, so we're talking about a tenth of a second.
Exactly my point.
In 10 yards, though.
10 yards.
That's a lot. A tenth of a second in 10 yards?
Not a lot.
What?
Trust me.
Are you kidding?
It's not a lot.
I don't know, man. A 1.47?
It's literally you here and that person there. That's what a tenth of a second is.
Well,
you can't do a tenth of a second on your stopwatch.
Okay, well let me say this one way or the other.
To the former NFL player on this.
Get your stopwatch out.
No. I get what you're saying, but I'm talking about Matthew Golden's 1.47 10-yard split would have him ranked number 1 out of the wide receiver group.
Understood.
Number 1. Yeah. You know where Tet McMillan would rank in terms of the wide receiver group? Probably like late 20s. I don't have the exact number, but I'm reading 7, 8, 9.
I just want to show the people. Just want to show the people exactly how fast this is.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's over a tenth of a second. That's how much of a difference it is between them and their team.
I think there's a
so you know what I'm saying? Like
significant
there's not like this. It's just really not right. Like, we get into these numbers a lot, and we look at the analytics, and we have to. That's all we have to go off of right now. But when we start talking about that difference in speed, it's not.
You were the one that asked for this. This
I know. That's why I wanted to show. That was my point. I wanted to prove the difference between Tet and Golden in that first 10 yards is literally you can't even do it on your phone.
Sure.
I'm good with Golden, but I'm taking Tet over Golden if both is staring.
I am too.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, Golden is not a bad option because it gives you something different.
No, and he might be the likely option. For
Okay,
you
who's
as
best in
well.
red zone?
Might be. Huh?
Who's the best in red zone?
Between
Ted and Golden.
It's a Kyle question.
for me, I'm going Tet. You know
So
why?
catch-
Because you can also get the jump ball situation.
Thank you very much.
So Ted had 8 touchdowns and 7 drops last year.
How are we in the red zone last
Has
year?
Dak always been good at that jump ball situation, though?
We talk.
I'm serious.
Golden had
Because
9 touchdowns.
If you're talking
last
about players that, and as much as I love guys like Jake, catch the ball. Jake, Luke, like some of those red zone should have been touchdowns.
I'm looking back to where he couldn't get it right with Dez.
No, that's but that was rookie Dak.
His first 3 years he couldn't get it right.
Ricky Dak was pretty good.
No, but not with that.
With the jump ball
not
situation.
with that back fake.
You know,
Sure, that was a
placing.
Dez Romo thing.
Oh, that used to be my favorite ball to throw.
That was a Dez Romo.
I think
I sit out there for
I would
hours.
give Tet the red zone edge, but I would say Golden is not bad either. Like I think he's great at it too.
But Ted, obviously, because of his size in the red
Correct.
zone.
I also love
Golden
Ted's
because of his
demeanor.
separation and the ability to catch over the
I
middle
also
of the
love
field
Ted's
in
demeanor.
traffic.
You know who Ted's demeanor reminds me of? And you mentioned his
Mike
name.
Evans?
Mike Evans.
Yeah.
He has a Mike Evans.
But he doesn't watch film, man.
Well, that was an old video too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know you were being sarcastic.
I am being very sarcastic.
So you guys are saying,
By my
according to
tone.
this report, Tet is super physical, and
Yes.
Matthew Golden doesn't like physicality,
I didn't
based
say-
upon
That's my con. Yeah.
not overly physical due to physical limitations and lack of bulk.
Quinlan
Doesn't
Kelly.
appear to be interested in blocking.
He would prefer to not.
Yeah.
You don't
to
want the
keep your
smoke in
hands.
there.
So yeah, he preferred to not be pressed and things like that. Ted is just like whatever.
We're just getting CD to the point.
Ted
where he
is
wants
like
to smoke.
whatever, little dude.
Yeah, we're just getting. I mean, honestly, right? We're just CD is just getting to the point in his career where he's like, okay, I'm willing to physically put my hat in there and get after it. That was one of the knocks on CD in the first couple of years. I like the physical cats.
Ted's going to bully some smaller cornerbacks. He's going to bully them.
I like that.
I love that.
Couple things here just to keep in mind. All right, one position that you have to leave with a starter.
Woo!
One position and one position only. Who are you going with?
Offensive guard, son.
Okay, so you want your right guard.
Running back.
Okay.
You mean just in the draft in general?
In general.
Running back.
Yeah, I think running back. Too.
Yeah,
That's kind of where I'm at. You have Hoffman.
I like Hoffman. But if you have an opportunity to get somebody who is doesn't come around, these guys that don't come around that often, big boys up front, that's like sure things, then I'm sorry.
But
there's guys that are always going to be trying to replace you, Hoffman. So just understand that. It doesn't matter where you were drafted at, but especially if you're undrafted or a low draft pick, somebody's always, organizations, whether it's the Cowboys or any other organization, they are going to bring in guys weekly to try to take your job. Your job is to make sure they don't get your job. So you're always going to be looking over your shoulder. You're always going to be trying to press forward. The draft, you're going to be, it is what it is. If they bring in a big boy, compete.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you in the fact that you can't have enough dogs at offensive line.
Yeah.
You can't. You simply can't. I just hope it's in the later rounds.
It's coveted. It's a coveted position. Like, you're not getting rid of offensive linemen. When's the last time, I mean, you saw Chicago just traded for some guys, but that's not normal. That guy's at the end of his career. Tooney's at the end of his career. That's the reason why he got traded.
They're desperate.
But you're not trading away interior offensive linemen in the prime of their careers or early in their careers. It just doesn't happen. If they can play,
facts.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah. It just all goes back to, can you line up today? And I don't think the running back situation, even though I do like the additions and the depth of Javonte Williams and
listen, I like both of those jokers behind a solid O-line. Both of them. And Deuce, both of them. I'm good.
We'll see.
Good.
What if good ain't good enough?
Listen, with what a solid O-line it is. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Here's what I'm saying.
All these running backs in this league are very capable. And I know this has been a conversation we've had before.
Right.
Yeah.
Behind a beast O-line, if I'm getting to the line of scrimmage and I haven't been touched as a running back in this league, whether I'm a big boy offensive line or whether I'm a scat back, I'm going to do work.
Okay.
I'm going to do work.
But what happens when an assignment is missed, blocking assignment, the lane isn't what? That's where the separating line becomes from a solid running back and an all-pro running back versus a generational. Where it's just that you see it, you react before the other pieces fall into place. That's where you get like the Barry Sanders.
You might be able to name 10 running backs in this league that can make guys miss in the backfield. maybe.
Yeah.
It's not common. So if it's not that common, then I'm not banking on it. I'm banking on my O-line creating holes.
Unless you have a shot in that respective year's draft at getting a guy who has division ability, quickness, all the things.
He's gone. I like UNC. I like
Hampton.
Hampton. I like Hampton a lot. I like how angry he runs. But that's the type of guy I am.
Hampton or Mimbu?
Oh, I'm taking Mimbu all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I like a physical. You got to remember, I play with Marion. I play with Marion Barber. Like you talk about somebody who's physical. Like I like that.
We gotta go.
We gotta go.
Oh wow.
Talking Cowboys. Goodbye, everybody. For Patrik Walker, for Josh Rodriguez, for Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam, shirtless in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long from Talking Cowboys. We'll see you next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this,